Hey guys, welcome to Connect with Katie. I'm so glad that you can join me. I just wanted to let you know the program that I use for my awesome podcast. It's called Anchor. This program is free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone and your computer. Also, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. Also, you can make money with no minimum listenership. Best thing is everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Hey everybody, welcome to the KT Talk Show. It's Wednesday afternoon, and my guest today is coming in from Toronto. His name is Roman Mirnov. He is a relationship coach. He helps people create amazing relationships and teaches actionable strategies that won't cause stress. So these are strategies that are not supposed to be anything that you have to work too hard to do, and they're easy for, both male and female to implement in the relationship. Roman is available on YouTube. He has a podcast as well and an Instagram. And I was just telling him how his YouTube is very, very fun and interesting to watch, and it's great content. So, Roman, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us how you got into relationship coaching?
Thank you so much for having me, Katie. It's a pleasure, and thank you for the kind words about my content. Yeah, I am a relationship coach working from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, but most of my clients, they're online anyway. And I got myself into coaching and life coaching and relationship coaching. Actually, after I moved from Russia, which is my original country, my home country, to Toronto last year. And I've always been into self-improvement and self-development. And I realized that this is a very good step for me to take as a new career. So I transitioned. I had been a translator for 14 years, and I decided to be a coach.
Oh, that's awesome. And you also had mentioned to me that you were trained by Tony Robbins. So can you tell the audience about that?
Yes, I took Tony Robbins' program, which is called Core 100, and it's done together with Chloe Medanis and Mark and Magali Paisha. So the four of them are teaching this course. It's 100 hours, and it's generally about life coaching, but most of the content is focused on really relationship coaching. And it was a great course. It took me about 8 months to complete. Mm-hmm. And I feel really empowered as a coach after taking it, because there is so much information. And even after completing it, I'm still going through the additional materials. So there's a lot to learn and a lot to apply.
As a relationship coach, are you focusing on any relationship? So as far as like friendships, or do you focus more on intimate relationships?
It's mostly intimate relationships, but the truth is people need help with all relationships.
Of course.
And if someone, well, let's say a wife comes to me and wants me to help her with her intimate relationship with her husband, it usually turns out down the road that she also has her challenges with kids. So I help her with kids as well.
Oh, awesome. So you're integrating the relationship. So yeah, I see. So the relationship between her and her kids, and then her and the husband, and then as a whole, like a family. I get that. I like that.
That's right.
That's really cool. So another question I had for you is, when it comes to relationships, especially right now, because of all this going on, it's a lot different for everybody. What are some of the best tools in finding a coach right now, a life coach, relationship coach?
That's a very good question. of course, the best way is to get a referral, to have a friend refer you to someone who they know, who they worked with, who they heard, good feedback about. That's
Mm-hmm.
definitely the best way. So check out your social network. That's one thing. And
Mm-hmm.
another thing is to, just like my clients find me on Google. So they Google something like relationship coach Toronto, and then they get,
Okay.
let's say, 3 to 5 candidates as
Mm-hmm.
coaches, and then they go to those coaches and have a free, enrollment session with them, because each first session with a coach is free. It's supposed to be, and you get to compare all these coaches and just choose the one that you have the best vibe with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. That's what with my coach, it took me a minute to, feel out who I thought was the best fit for me. And then once I found him, I'm like, oh yeah, I know why I took my time with this one.
Absolutely. Yeah. Taking the time is really a good thing with a coach, because you really want someone who you can relate to, and who has a coaching style that will help you meet your requirements in the best possible manner.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The second thing I have is it rolls into, what I just said about finding the best tools right now during times like these. So what some tips that you could give both men and women, to kind of help keep the relationship, fun, I guess, right now. Because, I guess what my thing is there's a lot of people that are stuck at home and they're not used to being home, as much with their significant other, or, like you said, working with mother and children, not used to being with their kids as much. So maybe some tips that you could give, let's say specifically to dads right now, that can help, keep, I guess, some joy during these times. We'll say that.
Okay, one thing that I definitely recommend is to be very intentional and strategic about spending time apart from each other. Because you're together all the time, you need that break, you need that distance, and you need to create it strategically. So get outside, do things
Yeah.
on your own, make sure that you are just, physically far away from each other. That's one thing. And
Mm-hmm.
by the way, this is helpful both in a quarantine situation like we are now, and also just in life in general, because you want this kind of contrast. You want this kind of a break from your normal relationship, so it doesn't get stale and you don't, get too used to each other.
Right.
And I believe it's also a great time for both for dads and for anyone in their family to actually spend more time on their hobby, because again, it will allow them that break from their significant other. And
Mm-hmm.
every time you work on your hobby, you're actually doing self-care. This is self-love, so you feel better about yourself. And whenever you do a hobby, you become more attractive to your significant other, because you are happier and they love that energy. That energy
Mm-hmm.
rubs off you, and that's how you become more attractive.
Yeah. Well, of course. Well, that's beautiful. I love how you said that. So how you in your program, I know that you obviously one can benefit from your program as far as improving, relationships. But can you kind of talk a little bit about more of your program and kind of the beginning steps and your focus, I guess, when you first find what a problem can be in a relationship?
You know, my first step is always taking a client through the goal setting process.
Mm-hmm.
And it creates a framework for us to use, like as a starting point, as sort of a baseline. And by knowing my clients' goals, I am already able to help them better. That's one thing. And oftentimes they will say something like, well, let's take a specific example of a client. A woman
Mm-hmm.
who is in love with a married man, and
Okay.
on the one hand, she knows this is not good for her and for him because it's probably not going to get her anywhere.
Right.
But at the same time, she's so emotionally attached to the situation and to this man that she just can't let go of him. So her her goal is to find a happy relationship. That's her goal. And within this goal, we have this important action item. We need to really sit down with her and determine whether she should take the option A or option B. That's it. So make up her mind about this particular guy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And when they get through that process, how long do you usually, I'm sure you don't have a specific timeline, or do you have a timeline of when you try to, I guess, motivate people to get through, something like that?
Yes. You know, with this woman, I am already seeing results after 3 sessions. So she's
Okay.
she's
Mm-hmm.
definitely leaning toward getting out of that toxic relationship, which is really toxic both for her and for the other side.
Right, of course. Of course. Yeah, and that's interesting that, because you don't really think about, because what I'm thinking is, okay, you're a relationship coach, so you mostly work with people who, and I'm just kind of talking off the top of my head, like you work with people who, have problems in their marriage, okay, whatever, that's easy, right? But like you were just saying right now that, then on the other side, okay, this woman, there's a married couple, but now you have a woman that's in love with this married man, and people, and I think it's really cool that you can help people from, her perspective. It's always an, non-judgment, and very open-minded about the situation. So I think, like, what I'm saying is I think it's really unique that the approach that you have, and that you can work with basically anyone from any situation in a relationship. So I just wanted to comment on that. And how, so when you're having, so let's say, this woman comes to you and you're going through that, you said she's going through all these sessions. How about if she's in love with another man, and how do you help her, I guess, realize that there's other, like potential out there? You know what I mean? So you say, okay, so we get over this other man, and what are some things that how you go through that process?
One tool that I use is pretty simple, and everyone knows about it, is just visualization. I
Mm-hmm.
I make her visualize her ideal family, her ideal situation, like the kids that she's going to have, an ideal person that she wants to meet, and that's a pretty good motivation factor for her to actually believe that she can find someone new and really be happy with them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one tool that I use to motivate clients like her. And I love to do something that I called a research project. So let's say someone doesn't believe that they can change, and in her
Mm-hmm.
situation, she might believe that she won't find anyone for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
I give her a research project and tell her, okay, so find 3 people around you in your social network or just in general, and show me how they got out of the same situation. It's a very similar situation, and they found love even though they believed that they wouldn't. So this is another thing. So 3 people that actually overcome the challenges that you have in your own life.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And do you have, and I know you said you do you always do the free, it's like 30-minute session when you first have people come on. And throughout your coaching program, how do you guys stay connected? Do you usually just do like phone calls? How does that work? I know because of like the COVID, I'm sure it's a little bit different, but I was just curious how the process goes, how you guys stay connected and things like that.
Yes, I prefer to have my sessions over the phone. So I usually use a messenger because the audio quality is better compared to a regular phone or a cell phone. I prefer that. I tend to do some of my sessions with video, but it's not really convenient to me and oftentimes for the client because I like, for example, I like to be moving around all the time. So
it's easier for you to just chat over the phone.
Yeah, it's easy, and no one wants to see my face, like,
yeah, that's
walking around. Yeah, that makes no sense. But sometimes I do, because there are actual clients who told me that they appreciate the video call because they like to see my facial expression. And
right, I get that. Go ahead.
Just a couple of weeks ago, I tried to go from a Zoom call to just an over the phone call, and the client said, no, really, let's go back to video because I like it so much. And he remembered one episode where he actually told me something, and I was so taken back by it. I was so surprised. I was even shocked, and he saw that reaction in me, and that reaction was so helpful in and of itself, because
that's awesome.
That's how he knew he did a very wrong thing. Yeah.
That's kind of fun. I mean, it's kind of funny, but because your facial expression was like, oh my goodness, right?
Exactly.
Well, no, I actually, that's how I can be sometimes. I guess it just depends on the situation, because I personally, if I was with my coach, I like to video chat with her sometimes, or, if I'm not feeling like it, depending on the day, I just feel like chatting over the phone. Like, hey, I just got out of the shower, so I don't really want you to see me right now, but I really need to talk to you.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's nice that you're flexible like that and you can do video and chat. I just wasn't sure if before the COVID, because life coaching is different, because we're coming from all aspects of life and coming at different angles. So it's not like you have to sit down and, have a counseling session or anything like that. I didn't know if you did any, in a face-to-face interactions with anyone.
I actually do. I have one client now here in Toronto, and she prefers to see me face to face, and I'm fine with that. She just, comes to the place where I live. I go downstairs, and we have this beautiful parquet near my house and near my building. So we just sit there for an hour or an hour and 30 minutes.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so cool that you do that. It's fun being a life coach, right? You can have your office wherever you feel like having your office.
Yeah, and a lot of variety.
How is it up in Toronto? I've only been to Toronto one time, and I think I was 15. So it's been 15 years since I've been there.
Yeah, I've been here for about a year, and I love it so far. I love it because, as a person coming from an underdeveloped country like Russia, I appreciate the cleanliness, the organization, people being very kind.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. That's good. I don't know I'm assuming you lived in Russia all of your life, right? And
Absolutely,
then you just, okay. Wow. Well, that could be a whole nother conversation in itself. I could totally pick your brain about living over there.
Yes.
Did you teach yourself? How long did it take you to? I just got to ask you this. How long did it take you to learn English? Or have you always spoke English?
Yeah, I spoke it before coming to Canada. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I actually had to take this test to come here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because to be accepted, to become a permanent resident, I had to pass this rigorous test called, what are they called? IELTS. Yes, IELTS test.
IELTS?
IELTS. IELTS.
Oh, that's different. And so what made you choose Toronto?
Oh, frankly, it's been my lifelong dream to come to North America after I went to Alaska 20 years ago. So I fell in love with Alaska. And I wanted to move here. So my options were, of course, the US and Canada. And, well, I had this opportunity to come to Canada and I used it. I did not have an opportunity to come to the US. So here I am. And it's pretty much the same. I mean, Toronto is 100 kilometers from the US, and it's very similar.
Oh yeah, I would imagine. I mean, when I went up there, from what I remember being in, the city part, it pretty much reminds you majority of like how, New York City, Chicago, things like that pretty much looks.
Yes.
And, nature can't really look too much different in North America, right? In the northern part. So pine trees and big trees and woods and wildlife.
Yes, exactly.
It's beautiful. Well, I'm glad that that you're really happy there and people are friendly and you get to experience all that. It's really cool to hear that. I guess I didn't catch on that you only have lived, over in North America for a year. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you travel a lot? I mean, I'm assuming you work from home, right? Like, so you get pretty much to get to set your schedule and.
Yes.
Amazing.
I don't travel a lot now because of the COVID. And actually.
Yeah, of course.
Yes. And it's actually a source of pain for me, emotional pain, because I'm stuck here. Well, I'm not like stuck, but I would like to go back to Russia because I have my parents, my son, my ex-wife, my friends back there, and I miss them a lot. It does feel lonely at times here.
Oh yeah, so you moved completely by yourself. You didn't move with anyone.
No.
Okay.
I'm by myself.
Well, how brave of you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I could see how you would miss them, but are they I don't want to ask you too much about Russia because I really don't know very much at all. So like I said, I could completely probably pick your brain for hours about, how it is living over there. But as a coach, did you start off, we'll go back to this a little bit so we can get in there. Were you a life coach over in Russia, or what kind of business did you do over there?
Yeah, before coming to Canada, I had been a translator for a very long time, over 10 years.
Right. You did tell me that.
Yeah, so I had a small business, and after moving, I decided that it's a good time for me for a career transition.
Well, that's beautiful. I'm glad that you got into this because, like I said, I got onto your YouTube and I was like, oh, these are great videos. You have some really, you always have to get the right camera and the right lighting and all that. And it's just really, I mean, overall, just the quality and content and stuff. You do a really nice job.
Yeah. Thank you. I try to do my best.
And do you do all of that on your own? Do you have somebody that helps you with that? Because I'd say that's pretty impressive if you do that on your own.
No, I'm not into that. So I have a person helping me with editing and everything,
Oh,
throwing in
okay, good.
graphics.
Good. You have an assistant.
Yes.
Good. That's always good. I was going to say you have quite a lot going on, so I would assume that you would have an assistant because I don't know if you could handle organizing all that.
Right.
All right. Well, Roman, I don't have any other questions for you today. Is there any promotions or any upcoming events or anything like that you would like to tell people about that they could look out for? Maybe if you have anything exciting next year, after this COVID's calmed down.
I would offer your listeners to go to my website, hit the contact tab, and contact me for a no-fee relationship breakthrough session. If you guys let me know that you're coming off KT's podcast, I would be happy to give you a 30% discount.
30%. Well, that is very nice of you.
My pleasure. Yeah.
And I will, like I said, and everybody in the audience, I'll make sure to include your links to all this stuff, your YouTube, Instagram, and your podcast. So make sure you tune in on there. Anybody else that's listening, if you're looking for a relationship coach, Roman is your guy. Roman, I really appreciate your time and thank you for coming on here today. And I hope that we can do some future episodes together. Oh,
yeah, it's been a pleasure. I would love to repeat it.
Okay. Well, you have a good one.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This episode is powered by Poddex.